Deciding to niche down and narrow your focus can make you feel uneasy, especially starting out. You're likely thinking, wait, I'm already not generating enough quality leads. Why in the world would I purposefully try to limit myself even more? But what if I told you that the exact opposite is what will happen? Would you give it a try then? Well, if you want to know more, you have to tune in. Let's get started. There's a misconception that we don't exist, that somehow our ability to excel at the highest level of our industry is limited, that overcoming barriers as a woman of color would be insurmountable. But what would happen if we decided to venture out on our own despite everything we're up against? I'll tell you. Welcome to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Angelina Davis, a healthcare consultant, consulting coach, high performance fanatic, wife, and proud girl mom. I help transform female professionals into thriving solo consultants. And just like you, I'm wearing all the hats and doing all the things. So this podcast is to empower the busy female professionals to move past fear to start and grow a successful consulting business, despite the obstacles you may encounter. We'll dive deep into consulting practice, business strategy, mindset, and more. So grab your cup of coffee or tea if that's your thing, and let's get started. I remember back in the day when my kids were much younger and we may be out in the mall shopping, especially during the holidays, and it's extremely crowded. There are like people everywhere. Even the best of parents have been through this, so please don't judge me if this has never happened to you. But there would be moments, and this didn't happen frequently, but it has happened before. There would be moments where I would look around and we may be in a department store shopping and I couldn't find one of the kids. And so at that point, you go into full panic mode. You're trying to figure out where in the world is my child? Please, Lord, I hope nothing has happened to them. No one has kidnapped them and taken them far away. But you go into panic mode and you're trying to figure out where they can be. You're just anxious and you're worked up. And the first thing that you do is that you call out their name. And one of the reasons why you call out their name instead of just saying, hey, can anyone help me find my kid, is because you're hoping that by calling their name that they will respond and that you'll be able to hear their voice and find them and go directly to them. And so this is very similar to what we're trying to do when we're niching down. We don't want to speak so generally that we cause everybody to turn around and look and try and figure out where this message is coming from. Because when that happens, typically people are confused. They're uncertain, just like with the child in the mall. You don't know whether or not that is you that they're calling, or if they need your help, or if there's anything that you can do to be of assistance. You don't even know what's going on. And so that confusion and uncertainty keeps you from being able to successfully find your child. The goal is really to break through all of the confusion, all of the noise, and really communicate directly to who you want to speak to. And just like me being in the mall, not being able to find my kid and being able to yell their name for them to turn around or appear from underneath the coat rack, then that's the same way you want your clients to appear and respond to you. And so in order for us to do that, we have to think about how we can begin to speak more directly to the clients that we want to serve, especially our ideal client, because we want them to hear our message and then to respond so that we can connect and we can grow and build a relationship. This is how I want you to think about niching, so you don't feel as if you're losing out when you begin to narrow this message and begin to really focus in on identifying one person or one group that you want to speak to and that you want to offer your services to. Because in that moment, you don't need everybody to respond. As a matter of fact, if everyone responded, it would not work to your advantage because you would have absolutely nothing to offer them. Just like in the mall, once again, if everybody responded, I'm not taking them home. That's not my child. So I needed only my child to turn around. You only want your ideal client to respond. So this is one of the reasons why niching is so important, because in a crowded world where we are just in a market that tends to be overrun with competition, It is so important for us to be able to speak directly to those that we can help, the people that we are meant to serve and connect with. And the way that we do that is by communicating our message in a way that only resonates with those who are meant to listen. So that brings me to the first point, is that being able to niche down will allow you to amplify your message. And this is very important because one of the challenges that you face, especially early on, is not being able to be heard. Think about it. No matter what type of marketing you're doing, if you're doing traditional marketing, then it may be hard for you to generate the money to really have a massive marketing campaign so that you can get your message out there. Maybe you're trying to do social media marketing, and we know that algorithms come into play. So if you don't have a large following, or if you don't have a way to really get your message circulated in the social media world or passed on and shared, whether it's on LinkedIn or Twitter, then it's going to be hard for people to hear your message. It doesn't mean that your ideal client isn't out there. They just can't hear anything that you have to say. They haven't seen you. They haven't, been in contact or close proximity to what you have to offer. And so therefore, it's going to be harder for you to win business that way. If you're blogging, then if you're new to your blog, how many times have you written a blog post and had absolutely no one except for maybe your mom and dad click on your site and actually read it and leave a response? It's going to take time for you to navigate the world of SEO in order to get your message out there. So in all of these forms of trying to, really reach the clients that you want to serve, it requires having your message amplified so that they can hear what you have to say in order for them to even be able to respond. That's one of the first steps that you have to take in terms of building your business. You have to begin to communicate with the people you want to serve. And so one way of you being able to do that more effectively is for you to be able to drown out the noise that's competing with you and allowing them to hear their name being called, like I called my child back in the store when she got lost. So whenever we're able to do that, we are calling forth and amplifying the message that needs to be heard so that our ideal client can respond. So that's one of the first things that we want to do. If you're finding yourself following all the successful accounts on Instagram and LinkedIn and YouTube, and you're just trying to recreate their strategies, but haven't experienced much growth, or you're consistently sharing tons of helpful content within your industry, almost burning yourself out, but you're still struggling to get potential clients to see the value of the services that you offer, or if you're reaching out to your network and even responding to requests for proposals, but it's just not driving the leads that you want and need. If that's the case, it's time for you to be seen as the expert that you are. It's time for you to make a greater impact. So here's the deal. Using a cookie cutter approach won't help you stand out from the crowd or attract the aligned clients that you need to build a profitable business and create the freedom you desire to live life on your own terms. Your expertise is unique and your approach should be also. That's why I created my signature program, Position to Excel, which is a highly focused, curriculum-based, personalized coaching program developed to help you accelerate the growth of your consulting business by creating a magnetic core offer, an expert personal brand to position your services to sell effectively. And unlike other programs that rely on traditional methods to attract leads, we develop a personalized approach to fill your pipeline without cold calls or reliance on referrals and RFPs. So if you're interested in taking your consulting business to the next level or starting and getting yours off the ground, visit www.excellaconsulting.com, apply for Position to Excel, and let's get started. So another thing that we struggle with when we're speaking too broadly is being able to land our message. Just because we're able to amplify what we're saying and what we're trying to communicate doesn't mean that that message is going to land and resonate with the clients that we want to serve. And so when we're speaking very broadly, it becomes like shouting in the midst of a crowd. We are not calling out anyone in particular. And although the message can be intriguing to many, because the message typically is so vague, because what we're saying does not have much depth, it will be hard for someone to really feel compelled to move forward with you and to want to work with you on an ongoing basis. That is very hard to convince people of, because I think oftentimes we feel like the more people that we can talk to, the greater the likelihood that we'll be able to land business. But I always like to draw people back to, the fact that this is somewhat the premise for cold calling, right? Cold calling really relies on you being able to communicate a message blindly to an audience. So you are pretty much just sharing what you have to offer with as many as people as possible. And yes, you will have some people that will respond. You will have some individuals that will turn and give you a listening ear. But when you look at the overall benefit based upon the amount of energy and effort that's put into the process, the return on investment is rather low, typically for any type of cold calling effort. That's one of the reasons why people tend to move away from that method of attracting, leads and clients. So when you don't have the ability to speak more directly with the audience that you want to serve, you are doing a form of cold calling. I know you don't think about it like that, but you really are. You are putting out a message to a general population, hoping that your ideal client is going to respond. That is the same premise. So what I want us to do is to think about our messaging a bit differently. And instead of trying to speak very generally, to really go into more depth and focus in on what your ideal client needs to hear in the moment, whether that is in a blog post, whether that is in a meeting that you may have or a networking group. However you generate your leads or fill your pipeline, you want to begin to message in a way that is more targeted and more niched, because you need to speak to a specific person who wants a specific problem solved. Remember, your niche represents the problem that you're solving. And that problem that you're solving is not a problem that everybody has. It's a problem that one specific person in this case will have. And so you want to speak directly to them so that you can let them know that you have the solution to their problem. That is what we want to accomplish. So this second benefit of niching down really is your ability to be able to help that message that you want to share, to help it land more effectively. So we talked about how you have a message that you want to share. And because you have this message, you need this message amplified so that the right person can hear it. Once the right person hears it, you need to make sure that that message resonates with them so that they know that you're talking to them directly. And then after that, what you want to happen is you want this message to catch fire. You want this message to spread. And so that is number 3, is that you have to niche down so that your message spreads effectively. Now, whenever we go to a new restaurant or a new shop somewhere in our local area, it's really easy for the word to get out when, when the food is good or when they have the right outfit every time. Everybody knows where that, what I always call, in my area, like these hole in the wall restaurants, because they have a little space, but they have lines all the way out the door and down the sidewalk. And one of the reasons for that is because they're small and mighty. They have found a way to stand out in their market despite being this tiny, tiny little restaurant or this tiny shop. And they have commanded a presence that really generates a level of demand that keeps people waiting and just, hanging out around the corner. Because you go from being this small fish in a big pond to being the big fish in a small pond, which only helps you. Just like the little restaurant that oftentimes can't compete with all of these chain restaurants that we see advertising commercials on TV all day, every day. They found a way to provide something to the customers that they want to serve that is more valuable than this restaurant that is able to spend this mega amount of money. This is why we have to focus in on niching down, especially when we're starting out, and definitely as solo consultants or even small firms. We have to begin to think about how we can get what we're able to offer, the expertise that we can provide, the results that we can generate, the return on investment that we've been able to, to show. We need to get all of that circulating in our networks, in our communities, in our ecosystem, so that we're drawing in the business that we want and need for the future. This is how you really build over time, and that you get to the level where you're running a 6-7-figure business or more. Think about it. When was the last time that you have had a client truly rave about the work that you do? When was the last time that you have had others share the outcomes that you've been able to generate for them with others? I'm not talking about just 1 or 2 referrals, but really, really spreading this, in essence, almost like a paid advocate of some sort. It starts out from really defining this space of this niche where not only you're able to speak more directly to the clients that you want to serve, but you're speaking in a way that they are so drawn in and they resonate with it so much that they help you spread the message so that it catch fire and so that you're able to attract more and more people like them. That is the power of niching. That is the power of focusing on a specific problem that you're going to solve for a specific community or person. It really is very, very helpful. And one of the reasons why you hear people talk about it so much over and over again. So I want to begin to alleviate this fear that you may have that niching down is going to keep you from attracting more clients. It's going to do the opposite. What niching down will do is it will help you attract even more clients, and not only more clients that may be interested in your services, but that will be aligned for your services, that will be qualified to receive your services, that will be the people that you want to work with, that are going to be your people because you have picked them out. You have placed a message into the space that will help these people really hear it and to raise their hand and to come forward. So I hope that this helps you think about niching in a different way, that you don't see it as something being very limiting, but a way for you to amplify your message, get your message to land and help it to spread like fire. That is what we're trying to do. And if you have any questions about niching, feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or even on Instagram. I love to keep these conversations going, even in the DMs. Respond with the word niche, and I'll know exactly that you heard this episode and that you want to talk more about how you can niche down in your industry or how you can niche down in your space, and we can keep the conversation going. But until next time, take care. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to leave your review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and share it with a friend. We're on a mission to increase the success and longevity of women in consulting, and you can help us do that. Also, I love to hear from you, so let's connect at Dr. Angelina Davis on Instagram or LinkedIn. And don't forget to visit excelatconsulting.com for more information to support your consulting journey. Until next time, take care.